Well, as you know, in my job, I don't stand behind a podium, so I kind of have to walk around a little bit. As you were just told, I'm Mike Beranek. I have the great pleasure of working with 8- and 9-year-old kids out in West Des Moines, Iowa. I've taught 3rd grade for 28 years. I'm also an employee of Von Mars, so if you need shoes, I work at the men's shoe department. And I am also the vice president of the Iowa State Education Association, which is a great honor for me to represent 34,000 teachers and associates across the state. When I was asked to come down and speak, I thought, well, how can a 3rd grade teacher relate to a bunch of business folks? And then I wanted to also help you understand what it is that we can all do to help continue on the path of improving our educational system here in Iowa. And in order to connect, inspire, uplift, motivate, and achieve, we need to develop relationships. The most important key in order for a child, for an employee to be successful in their position is that there is a relationship developed with someone and that that person demonstrates a caring, nurturing environment for them. And relationship, there are 3 key concepts. 3 key words: concepts, objects, and people. Concepts. Developing a relationship will help develop the self-worth of that individual. You'll continue to help them to become successful in whatever they're trying to work on. A concept of community. We need to develop a community within the metro area and across the state of Iowa. And kids need to see that that community is making a connection for them. We need to be creative and we need to accentuate productivity. Objects. Technology, in my opinion, is a great tool, but it is also one of our worst tools because it's causing isolation for kids. Kids are going home, they're closing their door, they're sitting in their living room, and they're on an iPad. They're not outside messing around, developing a relationship with the kids next door. They come to a classroom possibly, and a person pulls out an iPad, and they're not developing the cooperative skills which is necessary to be successful in your positions. And so we have to figure out how to use technology as a tool, but not technology overtaking their life. Standardized experiences. This, in my opinion, is one of the major issues that's confronting me on a daily basis. I have to now, within the regulations established by the state and the feds, has become more standardized in my teaching. And in order to be effective working with the individual child, I have to figure out how to individualize my program and to meet the needs of each kid. And if I have a standardization that I have to follow, if I have a standardized test that I have to teach to, it eliminates the creativity, higher power thinking, the thought processes that are going to be necessary to be successful in their jobs. Facilities. Facilities also have a potential of not allowing relationships. Kids need to be out of the building. You need to be in our buildings. We need to be working with Wells Fargo. We need to be out at Hy-Vee, watching what they do in the meat department. We've got to get our kids out of our facilities and stop isolating them. And people, learners, facilitators, caregivers, and the entire system of stakeholders. Relationships are the key in order for us to be successful. If you are watching what's happening out in Washington, D.C., there's currently something called the Elementary Secondary Education Act. It's sitting there and it needs to be revised. But what happened with the House just a few weeks ago, I don't know if that's going to get out of committee. And if that doesn't get out of committee, we're going to continue to function under something called No Child Left Behind. And that's causing great problems because it's requiring us to have every child achieve at a particular level at 100%. You can't do that on a bell curve. And so those relationships are crumbling, and that act that's sitting there that needs to be modified isn't going to be worked on because people haven't developed the relationships to be collaborative. This is a really long thing, but in essence is what it says is that when a teacher goes home and does a home visit, there's a relationship developed between the child, the parent, and the school. And that makes that child much more successful. As Jason knows, I've been to his house, I've had cookies, I've been doing home conferences for 28 years. Well, don't just wait for that teacher to invite you into their home. Ask that teacher to come to your house and have a conference. Have a conversation about what you can do to help motivate that child, to help that child be successful. Don't go into a principal's office and sit down and have certain expectations that you want to have met and not learn what that principal wants to have you do to help that child be successful. Oh my God, gotta register. So anyway, we have to build gaps, and we have to build bridges. We have to figure out how to make that gap work between you and me to make your kids successful. We have to uplift. We've got to have high expectations. We have to develop quality interactions. Okay. Thank you for having me here. I knew this would be too long. I'd like to come back and have at least an hour and a half with you guys.